Hey guys, welcome. We're really excited to have everybody here. We've got another exciting event for you guys, all about filling your cup. So, as you are joining us, please let me know that you're here. Say hello in the comments and let us know where you're coming from because we like to see where everybody is spread out all over throughout Iowa. So, do that. Let us know that you're here. We've got some hopefully exciting topics, or maybe stress relieving topics, is what I should say that we have today. So, today is going to be all about filling your cup. I do see that we have some people starting to come in. So, do let us know your name and say hello just so that we can all get to know each other on this. So, say hello, let us know where you're coming from, where you're viewing from. But today is all about the importance of you. So, we're really going to take some time to talk about why it's important to take care of yourself mentally, physically, emotionally, and also talk through some different activities that you can complete to help you focus on you and help you focus on your own self care. We've got some people. Kate, hello. I'm glad you're joining us from Des Moines. Tyler, welcome back from Waukee. So excited to have you guys with us. We're really excited to talk about this topic. I know if you think about pouring from an empty cup, if your cup is empty, there's no way that you can give anybody else any extra help. Holly, welcome from Manchester, and Kathy, welcome from Ankeny. I love seeing all these familiar names on. Today it is me, Jamie Pitlick, coming with you, and I don't have Dr. B with me, but I do have Tammy with me. Tammy Halberstam. I screwed that up, Tammy. I tried really, really hard.
It's a hard one.
Halberstam is with us. Tammy is a board certified in psychiatric mental health as a nurse practitioner. Currently, she's practicing at Broadlawns. But her background includes providing psychiatric care to individuals from teenagers all the way up through the elderly, with an expertise in psychiatric medicines and crisis management. Like I said, she's currently at Broadlawns Medical Center, and our passion is to provide help and hope for those who are suffering from illness. So, Tammy, welcome. We are so excited to have you here on this topic.
Thank you for having me.
Yeah. Throughout this entire topic, I am changing up our style and our format a little bit, but I want to bring back a lot of important quotes that I've found throughout my time as an adult and a professional who does care about self-care. So this one I liked. Rest and self-care are so important. When you take time to replenish your spirit, it allows you to serve from the overflow. You cannot serve from an empty vessel. This is where we got our title from. You cannot serve from an empty cup. So, very excited to have you guys and talk with you about this. Um, I'm looking for our first poll. So, let me take this down and we will quickly find that first poll. But Tammy, why don't you tell us why you think this topic is so important?
Well, I really feel like mental health is a very important topic, especially at this time in our lives. We have a lot of uncertainty in our world right now, and being able to find kind of that place where we can ground ourselves and learn how to take care of our mental health is very important. Um, learning things we can do to just help us bring down that anxiety and depression and just really cope with all that life throws at us is very important.
Yeah, yeah, I agree. I think those coping skills become extremely important.
Mm-hmm.
So I do have a poll for everybody that's with us. What have you done today to fill your bucket or fill your cup? What have you done for yourself today? Just take some time, reflect on that. And if you're able to share, please share and let us know what you've done. To me, what have I done? So this whole idea comes from actually a children's book where kids are, everybody carries around an invisible bucket, and you can do some things to fill that bucket up and make yourself and others feel good, or you can do things that empty that bucket and tear them down. It's a good analogy for kids, but I also think bring it back to what we can learn from kids as well. So for me, I think what I did to fill my bucket this morning, I actually practiced a little bit of yoga this morning, and it just kind of helped center me and helped me going. How about you, Tammy?
Mm-hmm. Well, I like to listen to music on my way to work. I find that if I listen to a lot of upbeat music or music that kind of speaks to me, it helps me get my day started a whole lot better.
That's awesome. Let's
Mm-hmm.
see. So Connie's saying she called a sister and a friend. And I'm having trouble. Let me see this. I can't see Suba's post all
She
the
said,
way.
I've done my
Yes.
exercise and made a donation to a food pantry. That's
Oh, that's
awesome.
awesome. I love that.
Mm-hmm.
So I think those are awesome different things that people done. And Holly checked in with a good friend who had a heart medical procedure yesterday, and good music. So
Yep.
completely agree. That's awesome, guys. Let me take this down. So looking back, next quote for you guys. And this one actually, I think this came from you, Tammy. Is that right?
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Self-care is never a selfish act. It is simply a good stewardship of the only gift I have, the gift I was put on earth to offer others, me. And this one struck me when you read it because so often we all think of self care or the fact that you need to exercise or you need alone time. That makes you selfish.
Mm-hmm.
But that's actually not the case. Do you want to explain some of your thoughts on this?
Well, when you were talking about your theme of filling up an empty cup, you can't give to others if your cup is empty. And so the only way to fill that up a lot of times is by self-care. Taking care of yourself, taking care of your physical needs, your mental needs, with exercise, good food, time spent with loved ones, doing those things that fill you up so that way you can give to other people.
Yeah, that's excellent reminder. We have Carol, who is chimed in and said she did Bible study
Mhm.
today. And then we have Kathy, who has not done much, but looks like is having a very stressful time, maybe, with being with a 90-year-old mom who was ill in Minnesota and having to travel back and forth from Minnesota.
So this would be a great time for her self-care. That recovering Kathy is amazing. That's what you need to do to fill your cup.
Yeah.
Mhm.
And then are you able to read Tyler's?
He said he's been cleaning his house and donating goods to a local organization.
Awesome. That's excellent. So at this time, I mean, let's kind of review some of the basics about if we don't take this time for ourselves,
Mm-hmm.
that can actually increase your stress and your stress response.
Mm-hmm.
Um, for the stress response, it does affect you emotionally, but it also affects you physically. Increasing blood pressure can cause effects on your GI system. But for diabetes, it can actually increase your sugars as well.
Mm-hmm.
So, just as a reminder, many of you on this do have diabetes. And if we aren't taking care of yourself, you can see that negatively affect your sugars as well. So, psychologically, mentally, emotionally, yes, we have to take care of ourselves too. But it can have the physical effects as well. In addition, diabetes has something called diabetes distress. And diabetes distress is when people feel they're overwhelmed or have a restlessness because they're treating diabetes 24/7. It is a 24/7 disease state. And if we get through diabetes distress, that can actually lead to something called diabetes burnout, where you stop caring about your diabetes a little bit and you go through, I'm done. I'm not caring about it. And maybe for a couple of days, you eat whatever you want. You maybe don't take your medicines. You don't check your blood sugars. And if we let that go on for a long period of time, that can have negative effects as well. So I think learning to do the coping and learning to do the regular self-care helps prevent us from getting into the diabetes burnout and help prevent the diabetes distress as well.
Mm-hmm.
Have you seen anything like that before, Tammy, as you've worked with patients?
Yeah, I mean, when you get to a point where you're so either anxious or depressed, to a point where you neglect self-care or are just not even able to do anything, you're sleeping all the time, it can get to a point where you don't care about taking care of your diabetes. And that's when you're in danger of, having those sugars in the 400s, 500s, 600s, even 700s. And then, then we worry about diabetic ketoacidosis. We worry about other things on top of your anxiety and depression and stuff. And then it becomes this like cyclical event where, you're depressed because your diabetes is out of control, but your diabetes is out of control because you're depressed. And so, yeah, it can be a cycle.
Yeah, it definitely can.
Mm-hmm.
And just, I'll bring up the next quote, which I think is a really good reminder that if your compassion, we talk about all the time to kids, all the times to other people, how you have to have compassion for other people. But if that compassion does not include yourself, it is incomplete. It's just another reminder of, making sure you're having that good self-talk in addition to talking to others in a compassionate way. I want to know, what are some healthy ways that you've taken time for yourself? We've heard good examples of what you guys have done today. But what else have you done in the past? Connie has a comment and she says, I think you guys hit the nail on the head. I decided to stop taking my blood sugar tests unless I don't feel well. Feeling good with diet and exercise. Yeah. And it's sometimes if you're in a good place with your diabetes, if you're doing okay, you don't need to check it every single time, especially if you're on diet and exercise. Sometimes checking it can cause extra stress too.
Mm-hmm.
It's just making sure you're working with who's ever caring for you for your diabetes to make sure you're always checking the right amount of time. So what are some things that you guys do for stress relief? And I want to know healthy ways you're dealing with stress relief. I mean, I'll take a bath. I take a bath. I love a good bubble bath or a good bath bomb. How about you, Tammy? Anything? You said music. Is that your only reliever?
No. Sometimes I like to just sit down and just watch a good movie.
Do you have a favorite genre?
Anything that's not drama.
See, when I need stress relief, I need something that is not going to make my head think. And so I need something lighthearted, something fun.
Yep.
And let's see, Saba is saying a good book. Yes. Mm-hmm. And then getting 6 hours of sleep each day.
Yeah, that's important.
I'm with you, Saba. I'm reading a good book right now. So I like that. Holly is spending times with furry friends and going for a walk, exercise, take a nap, sit on the patio. I agree. Sometimes sitting outside is way better than being cooped up.
Mm-hmm.
Getting lost in a TV show. Yes. I want to know your favorites. I need good recommendations. So Tammy, what are some ways that you can help us kind of work through the stress or the distress that we're feeling so that we can start to take better care of ourselves?
Mm-hmm. So when I was thinking about this, I kind of was thinking about some practical ways that we can kind of recognize those feelings when they come up, and ways we can learn how to cope with them, but not just cope with them, but to thrive in the middle of them. Um, and sometimes we cope, and when we cope, we react, but we want to react in a healthy way. And so I kind of came up just kind of off the top of my head with what do you call it?
An acronym.
Yeah, an acronym for REACT,
Yeah.
because that's kind of the way I remember things. And so when I came up with that REACT, the R I put for recognition. So recognize, what am I feeling? What thoughts are coming over and coming up over and over again? Often we go through the motions of our day, our routines, our months, our years, and we don't ever stop to think about how the inner self is really reacting to everything that's happening around us. When we start to recognize these thoughts that are coming up over and over again, then we can actually do something about them. And when we do that, then we have the E, which is evaluate. So we can evaluate these thoughts. Are these feelings causing feelings of being stressed? Are they making me feel overwhelmed? Am I constantly trying to push through these feelings just to kind of either get to the other side, or I just have to make it until next week? I just have to make it until next year. Once we can evaluate them, then we can acknowledge what those feelings are. Is it sadness? Is it anger? Is it disappointment? Or even is it happiness? Is being elated? Am I just content? You can have the good and the bad coexisting at the same time. But that's an important process of moving forward and moving toward taking care of yourself. It's kind of like a lot like learning the condition of your car. When you take it to a mechanic, right? Until you get the assessment from the mechanic, until they plug the machine up and figure out the diagnostics, what's wrong with it, you don't know what needs to be fixed or tuned up. You can look at the car, but you don't know what's wrong. So as individuals, we have to stop. We literally have to stop, put our feet up, recognize and acknowledge our thoughts and our feelings so we can, in a sense, tune up our inner self. And I think, with diabetes, you're constantly trying to evaluate is my blood sugar too high? Am I eating the right things? Am I doing enough exercise? You're really focused in on that one thing. And so this is more of taking a step back and looking, well, how is this affecting me emotionally? In assessing that. Once
Let me stop you there. I literally just wrote down with my pencil something very powerful. You said you can have the good and the bad at the same time.
You can.
And I don't know why, but that just hit me today. And so I love that.
Yeah. 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 So once you've recognized, you've evaluated, you've acknowledged these things, then it's time to take action. And you take action by finding things you like to do, finding what you need to do to protect your own well-being. And that's, get up, get moving, have coffee with a friend, learn to say no to things that you don't really want to do. So I think so often we say yes to everything, but do we really want to do it? If it's something that's going to drain you and it's not really going to help you, it's okay to say no. And then consult. The C is for consult. talk to your closest friends about what you're learning about yourself. Talk to them about what they're learning. Find somebody to confide in. And then finally, the last one, T, is thrive. The word thrive means to grow vigorously, to progress toward or reach a goal, to live life with passion. I think the biggest thing I've learned in the last 2 years of the pandemic is don't settle for just getting through the day.
Mm-hmm.
You know, there's a lot of people that just have settled for getting through the day. It's time for us to actually live. And we've been given this life to live. So, you know, ways you can decrease stress: listen to music, talk with your friends, eat right, laugh. Laughing is one of the biggest things that can just change your mood in a few seconds. Exercising, make sure you get enough sleep. I treat sleep more than anything else in my practice. That's the first thing we talk about, and that's the first thing I treat. Are you sleeping? Prioritizing, and then just kind of reduce some of these triggers in your life that create some of these feelings.
Yeah. And I mean, I love what you put together with the React. And I think that it was a great way to summarize. I mean, first taking a step back, and then how do you actually understand how you're feeling, and then taking action upon it and
Mm-hmm.
thriving. I mean, I get caught in the, how are you doing today, Jamie? I go, I'm surviving. And
Mm-hmm.
I think I've said that for the last 2 years, but I'm ready to thrive again.
Yeah. Yeah.
We've got a statement from Kathy. Have to learn how not to react to my sister in some relationships when I get so angry, even though she lives so
Mm-hmm.
close. What kind of tips and things can you help out with that?
I guess I Yeah. So you don't have a relationship with any anymore, and it's difficult for you to understand why she's not helping. I think the biggest thing is we don't understand why people do what they do, right? Um, what we tend to perceive things through our filter of how we react to things, how we think. But the reality is we don't all think the same, so we don't understand. Um, how not to react. A lot of it is just taking away that expectation for her to do that, and just doing the best you can for your mom.
Yeah, good advice. I think that's all good reminders. We get into the habit of thinking that everybody thinks like
Mm-hmm.
us.
Yeah.
Yeah, and it's hard.
Mm-hmm.
Um, Let us know if there's different questions that you have for Tammy. But it's just making sure and planning out the time that you need to take care of yourself, whether you need to plan it every single day, um, and have like a morning meditation or a mindfulness moment during the middle of the day. Or if you need to just be able to recognize, hey, I'm getting the stressful symptoms. Okay, now I need to do something to take care of it before it becomes a bad pattern for you.
Mm-hmm.
So finding what works for you in terms of that. Me, I'm a planner. And so if I plan my mindfulness every single morning, I can kind of wrap my head around my plans and wrap my head around what I have to do. And it helps get through that. But not everybody is that way. And some people need to do it more of the spontaneous aspect. So, and Kathy says, yeah,
Mm-hmm.
thanks. But it's stressful. And yeah.
Yeah.
So, last quote for everyone as we're thinking about wrapping up, um, kind of going along our theme: an empty lantern provides no light. Self care is the fuel that allows your light to shine brightly. So please make sure that you are practicing self-care so that you guys can thrive and shine bright. We'll stick around with it if you guys have any more questions. Otherwise, just for next time, we are having another Facebook Live in March. And we'll take the March theme about St. Patrick's Day, and we're going green. We're going to talk about all those different green foods. So I will have Christine Burke and Sabina Johnson, a dietitian, on to talk all about going green. Holly says thank you. Thanks, Holly. Thanks for joining.